Good evening, you're watching Mission 2024. I'm Preeti Chaudhary, and one of the big things which could impact Mission 2024 for all political parties, especially for the BJP, is the top court of the country today deeming electoral bonds unconstitutional and scrapping them. We're going to break it down. First up, the headlines. Big blow to the centre. Supreme Court strikes down electoral bond scheme, calls it unconstitutional, says poll-bound scheme violate right to information. Opposition hails the verdict. Farm Neta's controversial jibe at Prime Minister, says Modi's graft needs to be cut. Centre's top advisor takes on the farmers. Round 3 of government farmers talks underway. Kisan Neta, who said have to cut Modi graft, also part of the meeting. Will the deadlock end? Big political quake before 2024 polls. Former J&K Chief Minister Farooq hints at joining NDA in future. Says cannot rule out any possibility but will go it alone in 2024 Lok Sabha polls. However, a part of the India alliance for now. Massive setback for Sharad Pawar. Maharashtra Assembly Speaker Rahul Narwekar rules out in favour of Ajit Pawar, says Ajit MLAs cannot be disqualified. Days after 8 Navy veteran freed, Modi meets Emir of Qatar, holds bilateral meeting. Prime Minister Modi accorded ceremonial welcome during Qatar visit. All right, the crucial farmer centre meet is to begin shortly now. It's round 3 of centre farmer talks. MSP guarantees the big flashpoint. Will there be a middle path? Can farmers centre reach a consensus? Jagjit Singh Dalewal and Jarnail Singh amongst leaders arriving at Mahatma Gandhi State Institute of Public Administration in Chandigarh for meeting with ministers Arjun Munda, Nityanand Rai and Piyush Goyal. All 3 ministers have been trying to mediate with farmers. This is the 3rd meeting till now. It's been deadlocked. There has nothing that has come out of it. On one end, the farmers who are right now squatting at the Jammu border where Punjab meets Haryana, stalled by the Haryana police from marching all the way to Delhi, say that the full force of the state has come upon them in terms of water cannons, rubber bullets, tear gas shelling. On the other hand, the administration very clear that in no terms will they be allowed to make their way to Delhi. In midst of all of this, the meeting is going on right now with the government and the farmers. I want to immediately connect right now to my colleague Kamaljeet Sandhu, who's joining us for more. Kamal, if, as per the last time, the government has said that there is no meeting point where MSP comes into question, are farmers also going to give a little, or for them it's MSP legalization of it or nothing?
Well, it's difficult that the farmers are going to concede to any of the concessions or any of the liberties that the government would want to take, is because the march is already on its way. It's at Jammu border, at Kanori border. So the lines are drawn. Now, there has to be some out-of-the-box thinking, whether it's the government or, for that matter, the farmers. Who blinks first is a key question. But meanwhile, the demands are same. But the key and the moot point is obviously the MSP legislation, the C2 plus 50% guarantee as far as procurement of crops are concerned. There are obviously the other demands, as of Justice of Lakhimpur Kheri. The other is obviously the sort of compensation that they're looking at, especially for those who have died during the year-long 2020 farmers' protest. So there are several other demands. But the moot point is obviously the MSP. And now with the other farmer unions joining in solidarity, for the sense we saw BKU, we also saw the other groups like the Gurnam Singh Chaduni group, they lending their solidarity to farmers, especially in the wake of Haryana police action against them. That's going to add trouble, because remember, there's a Mahapanchayat soon by Rakesh Tiket. So thereafter, there seems to be a lot of pressure now coming in. But the point is, can the government afford the MSP? Because if this was something on the table, they would have already done it. Now, the farmers have been alleging that the government is only delaying tactics, that they're not really serious about this entire thing, that they waited for 7-8 months before they actually took to streets. And it's only when they've hit the road, that's when the government actually came on the table. Now, on 8th and 12th, there was series of rounds of meeting, and it went on till very late in the night, around 12 o'clock. This time around, the farmers have been very punctual. They were here just before 5 o'clock. The ministers are not inside, but we do expect that in another couple of minutes, around 7:15 or so, the three ministers, Arjun Munda, Piyush Goyal and Nityanand Rai will make it here. But do they have anything new to offer, or they're still looking to buy some more time? That is what the moot question is. Meanwhile, it does seem that the Aam Aadmi Party and the oppositions are already supporting the farmers. And at when it comes to all the sort of statements which are being made, that is something that the farmers are looking at. Meanwhile, it's down to business, and it doesn't seem that there is any easy way out. It does seem that this is in for a long haul, and obviously the way the conversation between the government and the farmers and the standoff which continues at Shambhu border seems a point of concern. We know that over 130 farmers have been injured so far. Over 24 policemen have been injured. Now, there should not be any sort of violence or casualty which the government is concerned about, but it all boils down to whether they arrive at a solution first of all.
All right, so that's the big moot point, whether they will arrive at a solution or not. Kamaljeet Sandhu, thank you for getting us the latest right now. The farm leaders locked in conversation with the three government representatives. It's the third round. Till now, it's hit a stalemate. Will there be any breakthrough today? One really needs to look at that. Meanwhile, while we wait on developments on that front, let's quickly cut across to the other story, which was developing very quick and fast from the state of West Bengal. Sandesh Khali showdown has intensified between the Bharatiya Janata Party and the TMC. But in midst of all of this, viewers, there is a bigger question that needs to be asked, because if allegations have been made, which at least for now the TMC police might deny, but if there are women who have accused somebody of sexual assault, then a probe needs to be conducted before any denial comes in from the government. Until now, there have been denials before a probe. So the question we asked today, will Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, conduct a probe and then maybe come up with a finding? With Mamata Banerjee now saying that the allegations of rape and torture of women is wrong. Speaking in the State Assembly, Mamata Banerjee said that those giving testimonies of rape and abduction were BJP workers. She says all the women who have given testimony of rape and abduction belong to the BJP. But the question again arises, even if they are from the BJP, should a fair and a free probe be conducted even if these women come from the BJP camp? That's the big question.
Sandesh Khali's showdown has intensified. Protests have now spread outside the restive village. And as tensions escalate, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has spoken out. She's blaming the BJP and RSS.
আপনারা জানেন জীবনে আমি কোনো অন্যায়কে কোনোদিন প্রশ্রয় দিইনি এবং আমি ইনিশিয়েটিভ নিয়ে স্টেট কমিশন পাঠিয়েছি, আমাদের অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেশন পাঠিয়েছি, 17 জনকে অ্যারেস্ট করা হয়েছে এবং আপনারা দেখেছেন যারা মুখে মাস্ক পরে পরে ছবি তুলছে ধরাও পড়েছে বিজেপির কর্মী।
The West Bengal police says that it is yet to receive any formal complaints of rape and torture. But women in Sandesh Khali reveal a different story.
অত্যাচার হতো, মেয়েদেরকে তুলে নিয়ে যেত, বৌদিকে তুলে নিয়ে যেত, নিয়ে গিয়ে হচ্ছে কি মিটিং এর নাম করে তুলে নিয়ে গিয়ে করতো, টর্চার করতো, কাকে রান্না করাবে, কাকে করবে, ভালো ভালো মেয়েদের দেখে হচ্ছে কি ভিতরে রাখবে।
হ্যাঁ, মানে মহিলাদের উপরে প্রচুর পরিমাণে অত্যাচার করা হতো। যেমন রাতের বেলা মহিলাদেরকে তুলে নিয়ে যাওয়া হতো বাড়ির থেকে পার্টি অফিসে, আবার হচ্ছে মিটিং মিছিলের জন্য যখন তখন ডেকে পাঠাতেন। রাত নেই, 10টা নেই, 12টা নেই, যখন ডাকবে তখন যেতে হবে। না যদি যেত তাদের স্বামীদেরকে তুলে নিয়ে গিয়ে পার্টি অফিসে কোদালের ব্যাট দিয়ে মারধর করা হতো। এমনকি ছোট ছোট বাচ্চা শিশুদেরকেও 14-15 বছর বয়সী বাচ্চা শিশুদেরকে নিয়ে গিয়ে তাদের হাতে মদের বোতল এবং পিস্তল ধরিয়ে দিত যে রাজনীতিতে করতেই হবে, পড়াশুনো করে কি হবে দিদি, তোদের জন্য তোর মাদের লক্ষ্মীর ভান্ডার দিচ্ছে, বোনেদের কন্যাশ্রী দিচ্ছে, এত কিছু প্রকল্প দিদি তোদের জন্য দিচ্ছে, কিন্তু তোরা যদি রাজনীতি না করিস তাহলে তোদের বাড়িতে তোর মা বাবাকে খুন করা হবে, মার্ডার করা হবে।
On Thursday, National Scheduled Caste Commission delegation met victims of alleged sexual assault.
जो मुख्यमंत्री है, जहां खुद एक नाम ममता है, मैं फिर बोल रही हूं ममता नाम की चीज नहीं है। आप जितना छुपाना चाहती थी, आप आंकड़े नहीं बताना चाहती हैं, क्योंकि आप एफआईआर दर्ज ही नहीं करती हैं। अनुसूचित जाति के लोग, उनके साथ आप घर बुला बुला कर टॉर्चर करते हैं। आपके नेता, आप उनको संरक्षण देती हैं, आप उनको संभाल कर अपने पनाह देती हैं। तो आपको मैं चाहती हूं कि देश आपको माफ नहीं करेगा। राष्ट्रपति को बताना चाहते हैं कि यहाँ पे राष्ट्रपति शासन लागू करिए, नहीं तो ये हमारे लोग यहाँ सुरक्षित नहीं रह पाएंगे।
Other than the allegations of sexual harassment and exploitation, there are charges of systematic land grabbing and socio-economic exploitation against Trinamool's Sheikh Shahjahan and his henchmen. But Mamata Banerjee is standing firmly behind her party neta.
একটা এলাকাকে অশান্ত করার চেষ্টা করেছে। আগে টার্গেট শেখ শাহজাহান, ওকে টার্গেট করে ইডি ঢুকলো, তারপরেই সবাইকে বার করে দিয়ে তারপরে ওখানে আদিবাসী মাইনরিটিদের মধ্যে ঝগড়া লাগিয়ে দিল।
Political temperatures are also rising. BJP cadres hit the streets from Hooghly to West Midnapur to South 24 Parganas, where violent clashes were witnessed between Bengal police and BJP workers. BJP President JP Nadda has also formed a fact-finding committee that is headed to Sandesh Khali.
ममता जी को ईओपी में बंद करना चाहिए और उसका पीछे एनआईए लगा देना चाहिए। रोहिंग्या को कौन संरक्षण दिया? यहाँ संदेश खाली में सौरबड़िया में शाहजहां का घर का बगल में 150 रोहिंग्या परिवार को घुसाया। ये बांग्लादेश का बॉर्डर है।
Spine-chilling testimonies and a political showdown that is exploding Sandesh Khali continues to be a big flashpoint in state of war Bengal. Bureau Report, India Today.
Colleague Hrithik Mandal joining us now live from Kolkata with more on the story. Hrithik, Mamata Banerjee and the TMC police maintains that all these women who've made these allegations are BJP workers. Despite being BJP workers, it is the moral obligation of the police and the government to investigate, probe that matter. Is it happening?
Yes, exactly. At a time when politics is only escalating,
All right, we're going to try and cut across to Hrithik Mandal in just about a minute. But once again, viewers, right now, the TMC police, I beg your pardon, the Kolkata and the West Bengal police says that they haven't really got anything in writing or a formal complaint by any woman. Is that true? That needs to be investigated. On the other account, you have a Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, who stated that all the women who've made these allegations are BJP workers. But having said that, and I want to bring in Hrithik back into this conversation, the fact remains, Hrithik, even if they are BJP workers or not BJP workers, a probe needs to be finished before a denial is issued.
yes, as I was mentioning that at a time when politics is only unfolding over the Sandesh Khali's incident, you have a special all-women 10-member top that are investigating the matter. As far as police top officials are concerned, we're getting to understand that in spite of last 2 days, the fact they tried to reach out to those women, though were subjected to crime, heinous crime like sexual assault. There is a serious allegation of systemic sexual assaults against women. But as per the top officials concerned, they said that there is no specific complaint related to sexual assault against women. Though there is a large section of women, they are coming out and lodging the fact that how they were undergoing threatening or they are being targeted. Their family members were assaulted. They were beaten up several times with the mastermind Sheikh Shahjahan and his goons, and particularly other leaders. But it is a flashpoint, and continuously TMC is maintaining suspense over the whereabouts of Sheikh Shahjahan. Remember, Sheikh Shahjahan is the mastermind. He's a strong person for the party and beneficiary as per the election mechanism for the party is concerned. Sheikh Shahjahan remains as a top leader as per the politics over this Sandesh Khalid area is concerned. Remember today, Mamata Banerjee claimed that it is the Bharatiya Janata Party and RSS mechanism that is engineered the systematic, protest, a violent protest against ANC leader. So immediately after her comment, a very significant comment came on the in assembly, BJP head back stating that they demanded NIA Electoral, and as per Shubhendu Adhikari is concerned, he will be moving to court challenging, the present situation that is being prevailing over Sandesh Khalid's incident. Back to you, Chaitanya.
All right, Ritik, appreciate you joining us for that quick update. We're going to continue to come back to you and get the latest. Meanwhile, let's cut across to the most important political development or constitutional development as well, viewers. The Supreme Court today, after 7 years, invalidated electoral bonds and termed them unconstitutional. The top court of the country has now directed the SBI to cease issuing electoral bonds with immediate effect and submit data of donors to the ECI, who will then publish the details furnished by SBI on their official website. Take a look at this report.
A 7-year-old election funding system scrapped. The Supreme Court has ruled electoral bonds to be unconstitutional.
The electoral bond scheme and the impugned provisions, to the extent that they infringe upon the right to information of the voter by anonymizing contributions through electoral bonds, are violative of Article 19(1)(a). We have applied the proportionality standard to determine if the infringement of the right to information is justified.
Introduced in 2017 and first sold in 2018, the secretive electoral bonds were touted as revolutionary for political donations. Critics argued that the anonymity provided by the scheme led to corruption and an unfair advantage among political parties.
At a primary level, political contributions give a seat at the table to the contributor. That is, it enhances access to legislators. This access also translates into influence over policy making.
Individuals or companies could buy tax-exempt bonds ranging from 1,000 rupees to 1 crore rupees from the SBI, which were then given to chosen political parties and later exchanged for cash. Data showed that between 2018 and March 2022, the majority of these donations went to the BJP. Headed by the CGI, the 5-judge bench directed the State Bank of India to cease issuing electoral bonds, reveal buyer identities, and provide information on bond redemption by political parties. The Supreme Court's decision came in response to petitions challenging the amendments made by the Finance Act 2017 that established the electoral bonds scheme.
Big day for Indian democracy, big day for transparency, big day for the right to information under 19(1)(a), big day for striking out clearly unconstitutional provisions, big day for bringing transparency into the political system, big day for exposing political parties who are participating in scams, biggest scams in the history of this country in the last many years. It's a big day for many, many, many reasons.
The opposition welcomed the decision. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi denounced electoral bonds as a means for kickbacks.
How can 95% of the proceeds of electoral bonds go to one political party, which is the ruling party? Therefore, our question is, in lieu of that money, have you sold, have you given coal mines to those companies? Have you allowed those companies to operate airports? What is the quid pro quo? This is our question.
Conversely, the BJP maintained that the scheme aimed to bring transparency to electoral donations.
चुनाव में सुधार के लिए ये हमारी मोदी जी की सरकार का एक प्रयास नहीं था। आपको याद होगा, वोटर लिस्ट पर आपकी फोटो छपती है, ये भी उस समय हुआ था ना। आज बड़ी संख्या में जो ईवीएम्स लाए गए, उससे बूथ कैप्चरिंग बंद हुई है ना। ये भी उसी प्रामाणिक प्रयास में चुनाव को पारदर्शी बनाने का प्रयास था। अब माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक फैसला किया है तो हम उनका सम्मान करते हैं।
This ruling arrives nearly 2 months ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. With Nalini Sharma, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, let's cut across to my colleague Nalini Sharma, who's going to break it down for us and what would be the implications of it, Nalini. Nalini, as historic it might be, coming in after 7 years, it's a complicated order. Will you break it down for us and what it means in terms of political implications in the next 2 months?
Well, Preeti, first and foremost, the biggest takeaway is that by the 13th of March, the Election Commission has been asked to publish all the details of the electoral bonds and the donations that have been received through them to electoral parties on the Election Commission website. Now, this, for the first time, is going to open the Pandora's box of exactly which individual and which corporate entity has donated how much amount of money to which political party, which is essentially going to pave the way to determine as to whether or not, A, there was any quid pro quo between the corporate entities and the government in power. Second, as to whether or not any corporate interests were put above the public interest in the form of these quid pro quo in return for the donations that have been received. Now, ideally, even though electoral bonds are supposed to be anonymous, but the Supreme Court categorically has said that the right to privacy of these donors and the anonymity cannot be held above the right of the public to know, because at the end of the day, in a democracy, it is essential that free and fair elections happen, and the public, which is the ultimate decider of which party comes into power, should have all the information before they step into the voting booth, which also means where the political party that they are going to vote for is getting its funding from, and as to whether or not that funding is impacting any policy that is being brought by the government, especially if it's a corporate policy that might impact corporate interests of several individuals or corporate entities.
All right, Nalini, appreciate you joining us for that quick breakdown. I want to also now cut across to Nitin Sethi, founding editor, the Reporters Collective. He'd carried out a series of investigations on electoral bonds. And on that note, Mr. Sethi, it's come full circle, 7 years. Is there some validation of your work?
I think more than gratification, there's a sense of relief. It's a victory for democracy, for people who fought for transparency and proper electoral processes. It's also a small victory, I would think, for good investigative journalism. It shows to citizens that good, rigorous journalism can bring good changes for the Indian democracy. I would think the country should be thankful to transparency activists such as Commodore Lokesh Patra, organizations such as ADR, which worked for many years in the court and outside to get information, to present it to courts in the right manner. There is some happiness that we at the Reporters Collective played a role in revealing these documents to citizens, which led to an outcry, and that got used as evidences in the courts to get the order that we have got today.
Well, that's fabulous reportage, sir. I appreciate you joining us there. We're going to take it forward at 8 p.m. But on the other side, on to the point this evening, what's really happening with the India alliance. The latest ally to ditch India, or not India so much, but the Congress is the NC. That's coming up next. Stay with us.